Okay, quick talk, real talk. I have laundry to fold on my bed. I didn't even totally finish making my bed today, but that's okay. I actually feel like that fits this video perfectly, which is, guys, we are like overcomplicating so many things. 2 of my coaching sessions today with clients were about meals. Both of them realized I am way overcomplicating this. They have felt paralyzed and so stuck because in their head they've been holding all these expectations, which a lot of them they haven't necessarily even been able to articulate and spoken out loud. But, all these expectations that are so high that for one person to try to accomplish all those things, to check off, 10 different boxes for every single meal times 7 dinners every week is just like crazy, unless that's your full-time job and you love it. And it made me think, I think we're doing this in so many areas. And why I think part of it is? I think it's partially because the internet doesn't just give us the ability to see all these women who are crushing it in all these different areas, right? Like we see our friend or the influencer who makes beautiful, healthy, homemade meals what seems like every night. And then we see the person who's like so intentional about their style and it's so beautiful and they only buy things that are handmade and sustainably made. And then we see this person whose home is so lovely and we see this person who is like ultra intentional about their fitness routine. I mean, they know like this day I'm working these muscles and I'm drinking this shake and blah, 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 blah. Not only does the internet give us the ability to see all these different women who are crushing it in all these areas, and then accidentally, I think, kind of combine all those women and think that like one person can be all of those things and be really, really, really good in all these areas, which isn't true. The internet also gives us access to an unlimited amount of online courses, PDF guides, programs, things to pin on Pinterest, blog posts, podcast episodes, etc. that are very helpful and lovely and willing to help us do a deep, deep, deep dive on those things. If you are in a space where you want to perfectly organize your fridge so that the vegetables are arranged in rainbow order, right? Or you want to have that perfect Instagram, Pinterest-worthy capsule wardrobe of 15 items that are all high quality and, blah, 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 right? Like or in the case of my clients today, the internet gives us an unlimited amount of opportunities to buy courses and offerings related to meal planning and spreadsheets and apps and all these things to help us really, really do this meal planning, cooking thing well. And those things are great. And I have bought some of those things myself and they can be so incredibly helpful, especially if it's an area where you really, really are struggling, or it does need to be, very detailed for you. Or maybe it's an area that you're like really interested in, like you're so excited and passionate about the idea of having this capsule wardrobe or about putting just loads and loads of intention and energy into the meals that you cook for your family. But let's be honest, there is just no way that we can check off all of those boxes. And so then a lot of times we just get stuck and we don't really do anything. I guess this is kind of like what Kendra Adachi in her book, The Lazy Genius Way, and then in her newer book, The Lazy Genius Kitchen, she kind of talks about this. It's like we try to be kind of all or nothing. Like the genius is the person who is ultra systemized, they are crushing it, they've got the checklist, they're whatever, which, spoiler alert, usually doesn't work long term. And then the lazy person is the person who like swings to the complete opposite side where they're like, this is so hard and impossible and I can't do this, and so I just give up entirely. And so I would say, feel free to complicate the areas of your life that you want to complicate and that are life-giving, and do that to the glory of God. And in the other areas, try to think about like what you're really after. My favorite thing in the Lazy Genius Kitchen is for kind of each area as it relates to food in your family's life, whether it's like meal planning or the actual meals or sitting down to eat together or whatever. She has you determine like the top 3 things. She has you brainstorm a list of like, what are all the things that could matter to me in this area? Narrow it down to 3 things. What does really, really matter to me? And then narrow it down to the top 1 thing. What matters the most? And I feel like you can apply that in so many different areas of your life. And what I'm getting at is like, if we know what matters the most to us in general in life, but then also kind of in these categories, like obviously everyone needs to clothe themselves. Everyone, I hope, has some kind of like home or dwelling that they are somewhat managing, even if it's just a room. Everyone has to eat. To some extent, we have to take care of our bodies or decide to what extent we will or will not take care of them, right? So we kind of have to do all these things to an extent, but if we know like what really matters to us in each of those areas, then we can be kind of a lazy genius, like Kendra says. We can be a genius and intentional about the things that matter to us and lazy about the things that don't matter as much. And I think we kind of know we can set the bar for ourselves, not at the level of what is possible, but at the level of what is realistic. Not at the level of what this online course will teach you how to do if you want to spend dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of hours of your life curating this perfect closet, a perfect wardrobe, or a perfect meal plan. But like what really matters, what is good enough and actually sustainable for you and for your people. And so like in our house, meal planning does not happen much at all. My husband cooks most of our dinners, and I shouldn't say he doesn't meal plan. I don't want to like not give him any credit, but it's like in his head, if anything, kind of thinking through like, okay, what are some, when he's at the grocery store, like what are some things that I can buy to feed us at some point in the next week before the next time I grocery shop. When I think about meals for my kids, like when I'm the one making meals for them, especially lunches, there are so many things I could care about. The thing I care about is like, is it healthy? So if it means they're eating a grass-fed organic hot dog for the 4th day in a row for lunch, I don't care. That's totally fine with me because that's healthy. They will eat it. They eat their hot dogs cold most of the time. They don't even care if I heat them up. So I don't even heat them up for them. They don't care. So like that's what matters to me. I don't need to worry about cutting things into cute shapes. I don't need to worry about a lot of variety. Like all those things are great, but I don't need to set that bar for myself or invest in some kind of program or spend a bunch of time making plans. Like I kind of know here's the basics and that's good enough. When it comes to like my wardrobe, it's like, do I have at least a few pieces for this season that fit my body, that I don't completely hate, that aren't super stained and gross? Yep. Okay. Good enough. When it comes to working out, are there muscles and muscle groups that I am probably neglecting? Yes, I'm sure there are. Is my balance of like cardio to strength to flexibility exercises perfectly balanced? I highly doubt that it is. But I put on dance cardio workouts every morning. Unless I'm very sore, then I just kind of do some stretching on the floor. And so I'm doing something. It's good enough. And maybe someday I will invest in some really complicated program and be counting my macros and drinking shakes and doing arm days on Mondays and back days on Tuesdays and leg days on Wednesdays. I don't know. I don't even know. But do you see what I mean? So just because there are other people who are making something really complicated, which thanks to the internet, we will always have access to see people who are like crushing it at what they do, right? Like those are the people that you see online. Those are the people that write books about things because they're very good at that specific thing. We will always be able to see that. We will always have opportunities to learn more, go deeper on these various topics. And I didn't even list off all the things, all the different kinds of categories. I kind of named a few, but I mean, goodness, like homeschool or celebrations that your family has, or holidays, or how many other endless amounts of things, right? We will always have access on the internet to buy these resources, to go really deep on some of these different things. But just because those are out there does not mean you are failing, or you're lazy, or you're not good enough if you aren't doing all these things to the nth degree, if you don't have a spreadsheet for your wardrobe or your weightlifting. And in fact, it will likely bring you so much more peace to just accept that and say, where I'm at right now is good enough. That doesn't mean it couldn't be better. It doesn't mean I couldn't do more, theoretically. I can approach this differently in the future, but for now, here is where I'm at, and this is my bar, not this, and this is good enough. Because when you set your expectation for yourself at a place that you can actually achieve it, you will feel so much better. The problem, the frustrations that we feel are not actually because of our circumstances. They're because of what we are thinking about our circumstances. And so if your expectation is up here and your circumstance is right here, and there is a gap between your expectation and reality, that will cause you almost undoubtedly to think negative things about that gap and to feel icky. So if you bring the expectation down to where reality is, what you can actually do, look at reality, nothing changed in your circumstances. You just changed your expectation. And now the reality for now is good enough. It meets your expectation and you can feel okay with yourself. You can feel okay with only doing like 5 or 10 minutes a day of a cardio dance workout video. You can look up Mad Fit on YouTube if you want to see the videos I do. I used to dance. I really like dancing and just like dancing to pop music, and she has some fun videos. So that's what I do. Very basic. So yeah, I hope that encourages you, and let me know your thoughts below. All right. Love you. Talk to you soon.